What's going on, guys? Welcome back here to the channel. This is Rob Bifo here with another 6 scale figure review. Now this is kind of interesting. It's some could call this more of a statue than a figure, and I couldn't really argue that. It is kind of a static piece, so we could call it a 6 scale statue review or a 6 scale figure review, whatever suits your fancy here. But this is kind of a special piece in that sense because it's part of the Sideshow 6 scale line. It's a Star Wars piece, as you can see here, and while it may not be a statue, I mean, it goes with all your or it may not be a figure rather per se, because there's no articulation. It is just a static piece. It's the Han Solo and Carbonite. So for anyone out there who has the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett or has an Empire Strikes Back collection going on in general, I feel like this is probably a must-have. Now, I was never really going for an Empire collection per se, but I did end up getting the Empire Strikes Back Vader, which then made me go ahead and, or actually, then what actually happened first was I got the Empire Vader, then my wife got me the Bespin Leia. So once I had the Bespin Leia, I just had to pre-order the Bespin Lando. So at this point, I do have a bit of a little Empire collection going here, so I'm glad to add this to it. Hopefully, perhaps one day I'll get the Bespin Luke in there, and now I'm kind of leaning towards needing to get that Empire Boba Fett. So, but without any further ado here, let's go over this, let's get this thing out of the box, take a look at it here. This is a big honking boy, so let's get all this started and take a look at this and see if it's actually worth it. Let's get started. Okay, so like I said, everybody, this is a big honking boy. Now that we have it laying down here off of the turntable, you can actually see the end of my desk over here, okay? So this thing is literally pretty much taking up the entire width of my desk because my camera is fully zoomed out and it's all here. So it's in a very large box for what it is. So I'll do my best here to kind of go over the box real quick. Luckily, there's not a whole lot going on with the box, so I don't have to spend too much time on it. This has a picture of the figure or statue itself, whichever you were wanting to call it, and it still, as you see, has the classic Star Wars kind of basic print that all the Sideshow figures and the Hot Toys figures have, just with the black and gray, little triangular design coming down the center with the picture of the figure. Han Solo and Carbonite, 6 scale, nothing on the sides of the box. And then on the back of the box, it is the same as it is on the front of the box. So clearly, nothing super exciting. Now, like I said, since this is such a big honking boy, I might need to do a little cut here just to mess with getting it completely out. But I'll try my best here to get everything out in a quick and orderly manner. But if you see a cut, that is why. But it opens up just like a standard box would right off the top. Sorry, this thing's like right in front of the mic, so it might be kind of loud. But then you actually have some kind of going more in line with it being a statue, actually, because this is how I receive all of my custom statues, and really any typical statue I've ever really gotten, any premium format ones, mind you. It comes in a dual styrofoam box inside, so full styrofoam packing. Pretty hard to see right now because it's all white styrofoam. Let me see if I can turn the ISO down a little bit more. Maybe it'll come through. This is the lowest ISO setting I have here, but there is a Sideshow kind of imprint on the styrofoam pad right there. There is tape going around the entire perimeter of the box. So I have already cut that because I did do a kind of preview unboxing of this. I still haven't put it together or anything yet, but I did a preview unboxing live on stream this past Friday. So, that being said, if you ever want to see some like figure previews and unboxings, come right here on the channel every Friday. Normally do some streams around 8:30, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And if I have any new figures or anything like that, I'll typically do like a quick unboxing and preview of them on stream and then move on to like playing some games and stuff like that. So, but either way, we're here to actually review this figure here. So let me get this kind of better in frame. And now that we have everything out here, this is what you see once you open the package. So you have the actual figure itself here, nicely packaged or covered in styrofoam. It's packaged in plastic, styrofoam, but then in plastic. So this is the actual like main piece itself here. And I gotta say, it looks really, really good. Unfortunately, there's really not a whole lot. I don't have like a full size one of these to really compare it to. I wish I did. but it looks very nicely done. I mean, it's fairly simple when it comes to its actual, like, what we're getting here, so it wouldn't be too hard to really mess up. So this is definitely Han Solo and Carbonite. What's the most interesting part of the whole thing, in my opinion, is realistically, at least where all the detail comes in, is actually on this base portion. So with this, you do get some extra options on what you can kind of do to have it on display. Like for instance, they have like this little orangish yellow sheath here that can give you like a dual effect here. So you can take this off and just have like the all white look to it, but then you can pop it in and have it more of like a, the orange amberish lighting effect. Now, before we get too involved in this, because we do have this, there is like nice detailing all throughout here. As you can see, this looks all very nice. But I'm going to actually get all the packaging, get everything out of this packaging. Here's the display pieces and everything. Then you have all these little connectors that go inside to give some more detail on the actual base and on the side of this. So, and there are some additional display options with this thing. So it doesn't actually it's not necessarily one static piece, because you do have options, so you can do it vertically and you can do it laying horizontally. So as you can see here, just like quickly, I'll obviously have not pictures, but I'll have this on the turntable and like the various different display options that you do have with it. But while the instructions are here, as you can see, there's a way to display him vertically standing up, and then there's a way for you to display it horizontally as well. So it's pretty cool in that regard. It's not one completely static piece. You do have a couple of options with it. With that being said, let's actually get everything out, all the plastic off and all that sorts of fun stuff, and actually take a look at this thing, and then again, see if it's worth the purchase. All right, guys. So as you can see here, even with everything out of the box, he still takes up pretty much my entire desk. So it kind of makes sense why there was so much packaging. It wasn't really just for protection. The stuff is actually kind of big. So first things first here, let's get these small things out of the way. We'll go over these. These are a couple of these individual panels here. Some pretty much look exactly the same, while others do have like a little bit of different kind of detailing going on through them. They're nothing crazy here. These are just kind of accent pieces that can go on to the side panels here of the carbonite chamber. So you just pop these in. Now what happens here, actually you pop them down like this rather. So you pop them in there. Now what ends up happening, these do seem to be magnetic as well, so they're very easy to remove, which is very nice, because the trick here, what you have to do is, if you want to display him like in the vertical or the horizontal stance like this, you would take two of these out and then pop this bad boy into two of the center pieces here. So as you can see, there's actually slots here, right here and right here. So if you want to do the horizontal one, you have to specifically use these two middle ones, and that's where he would go. And you can do it on either side. As you can see, there's those little slots here for the horizontal. It's kind of like a crotch grabber, but not really. So the horizontal stand can go in there on either side of the centerpiece, so you can have him this way or you can have him this way. And then with the vertical one, what actually happens is, the only kind of caveat with it at all is simply that you get this peg right here. It just slips on the base, and then you just have it sitting like right on here on the back, like so. And this is magnetized. So you slot it into this hole in the base here that keeps this part sturdy. And then this just stands straight up on it, straight up and down, with this being magnetized right there. So it keeps it standing up. Nothing crazy about that. And again, we will see this thing actually both in its horizontal pose and in the straight vertical pose towards the end of the video. There is one slight caveat here, and two of these things that do have a little bit more differences to them. This one actually, as you can see, has the only one that has any sort of like coloration on the panel here. So that's nice there. Sorry, I just realized my air conditioner was on, so I went over and turned that off just in case it was causing a little bit of background noise here. So either way, as you can see, this is the only one that has any sort of like special detailing to it. Elsewise, I mean, they're all pretty much identical in nature. This one just has this little sticker on it that just sets it apart from the other ones. All of the other ones just generally have this circular kind of design in some fashion for the most part. Then you have this one, which actually has some a little bit more detailing to it. As you can see, it has like these numbers on here, like temperature numbers and whatnot. Has these little metal rails on it, which is pretty cool, honestly, 'cause it's pretty realistic in a lot of senses like that. Like, they did a really good job on the paint application on these, and even on these ones. Even though they're more simple, they did a really good job of making this actually look like metal. The paint app is very well done. It's very simple, but it's a nice, like, powder coat to it, so it really makes it look like metal. It's got a nice shine to it. They did a very good job with these. Now, this one is a little bit more special in that it does house AAA batteries in here. So, and it looks like both the base and this came with AAA batteries, as it has a kill switch here. So we'll pull this out, and now we'll be able to turn this on. And as you can see, we have some lighting effects here, which is pretty nice. Like, they didn't have to add this into it, but it's a really nice little feature. And you can actually just kind of see these are just some kind of lights right behind here. They're not actually like embedded in here or anything. So the glow is just illuminating through here. But with this one, you have to insert this specifically into the top panels only, according to the instructions. So it could slide in on either side here. So you could put it there for, your vertical display. And like I said, it pops out easy enough. Actually, no, it doesn't pop out. This thing actually just came off. Wow, look at that. We're doing it live, folks. Doing it live. So be careful with that. Jesus. That is very, very, very delicate. So yeah, that like slipped right off. It's still on, thankfully, everybody. It's still on. So definitely be careful. Do not pull from these. When you go to remove this thing, do not pull from these. They will break. But you do have to slide it in here. And I guess it's only fitted for the top portions of it. But be careful. Do not pull on those metal sections. That was kind of disappointing. That was worrisome. So go ahead and turn that off for now. Now with the base, we'll take a look at it real quick. It actually comes with two different top panels. This is what they call the Bespin top panel. This actually just slides straight down, and you flip it over, and it's a carbonite chamber panel. This one's just honestly looks pretty much exactly like this. It's just kind of a matte, dark slate gray for the most part. I honestly like the aesthetic of this one more. I feel like it breaks up the I don't know, it adds a little bit more depth to it, so I'll probably just be using this one, honestly. I like the paint application on this too. They have like the shadowing here along the seams, gives it a little bit of life. And you can see like some nice little grains of like powder. It looks good. This is very nice. Now, just a quick overview on the base here. Again, the paint application on pretty much everything along with this is really well done. Like, some of these parts are kinda, like, simple, obviously, nothing really needs to be too crazy, you just got some, like, piping and some metal grates and stuff here, but everything has a nice illusion of having a little bit more depth to it, like, they painted this a different color on these sections right here, so it really stands out. I'm colorblind, so it looks like a reddish brown. Correct me in the comics if you or comics, in the comments if you want, but it's just I don't care, I'm colorblind, I can't help it. And the same goes on here, like, we have some other like brownish or reddish colors going on through here and some other panels. But all the detailing work it looks very well done. Then you have some little white coming through here to kind of match the paneling here, like your classic Death Star paneling here. Looks very cool. And that is obviously right here where you would slide in the color changer effect there to give it that amber hue. Now, this side is kind of the same as the other side for the most part. No, I mean, it's different, but it just has, like, smaller piping going up here. You got another little white chamber there, whereas on this side, you got a white chamber on the top with some, bigger piping here coming on the bottom. But for the most part, same general design on both sides. This one, as well, as you can see here, does come with AAA batteries already installed. So I haven't seen this lighting effect yet. I'm doing this live. I haven't done any of this yet, so let's see what lights up on it, if anything. My lights might be making it way too bright to see. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really seeing anything. Weird because this was falling out pretty much at ease on me before, and now it doesn't want to come out. Yeah, I don't know. Probably have to turn the lights off to really see. Okay, so yeah, you can see right here a little bit. Lights up. It's like incredibly hard to tell. Look, that's off. That's on. Off. On. So there's that. I don't know why this is being so difficult in trying to get out all of a sudden, though. God, you saw when I did the unboxing portion, this thing just popped right out without any issue. I guess I should note that it looks like mine actually has, like, a crack or something on it right here on the seam. You can kinda see here. It might be kinda hard to see again with all the glare and the lights, but it does not make a perfect seal right here. It's, like, cracked right on the bezel. It's actually popping out a little bit. So that's probably just a QC issue there. Because yeah, it's completely cracked. Either that or the cut was just not done properly at all, which is weird too. Because a lot of these, like, this seems like actually rather sloppily cut as well. Not to mention it's completely different color than the back panel, so this doesn't blend in at all. Not that you're gonna be looking at the bottom by any means, but it is kind of an odd choice to make this such a different color. It's very, very strange. Then you have a Sideshow Collectibles logo down here as well. I'm actually a little bit more upset with this being cracked on the bottom. I might actually email them and see what they can do about this because it actually even pops out. Sorry, yeah, I took it out of the lights here just briefly to see if I could get a better look at it. This is absolutely broken right there. And it just, if you can kind of tell, like, again, I know it's kind of hard to see because of the glare on the lights, but like, it's just like it was cut very sloppily, and it's, like, completely cracked right here and separated, and it, like, bevels out a bit. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna reach out to them about that and see if this is normal, if they can send me one that's not like this. And again, I really don't like that this is a different tone, even though you'll never see it. It kinda bothers me. It's like I know it's there, so it bothers me. Either way, I'd say ironically speaking, though, despite the issues that, with this base part being cracked on the bottom, which again, even though it is cracked there, you'll never see it anyway, so I don't know, like, how much I really care about it. I would honestly say that in some ways, the base is actually the more impressive piece as far as, like, the paint application and attention to detail goes, just because there's a lot going on in the base, like, there's, like, some I don't know, there's minor, like, weathering and, like, you can even see some, like, brushing going through here where it looks kinda, like, dirty and, like, lived in, like, it looks legit, honestly, like, I really like the design of the base. Not that I don't like the Han Solo and Carbonite portion of it, like, that is the primary piece, but in the end, it is kinda generic. Like, there's not a whole lot to it. It definitely gets the point done, and this is not really a bash on, like, Sideshow or anything, like, they did a really good job with this. I think it looks perfect. If anything, I think it might be a little bit too gray, like, it's too light of a gray. I feel like it should be a little bit darker. May just be me then, it may just be under the lights, but I mean, it's clearly, like, even when you kinda make it dark, it's a very dull, whitish gray as opposed to the more, like, darker gray, like, kind of honestly like this, because this is really how it looks in the movie. It's not I don't remember it ever being this bright. I mean, this is almost like a silver gray as opposed to, like, the deeper gray. Either way, that's just nitpicking for the most part. 'Cause in the end, I you definitely know what this is when you see it. It looks great, and honestly, they even did a really good job with the head sculpt, even though it is kind of, like, not needing to be perfect. They even have, like, it dripping out of the mouth there. Very nicely done. I really like the sculpt and everything. I'll have to go back and maybe look at it in the movie again. I know kinda sacrilegious, I don't remember it right off the top of my head because it's such an iconic scene, and it is, like, the best of the Star Wars movies, but just to do an actual true comparison before I just keep talking out of my ass about it, like, I feel like it's a little bit brighter than it should be, but I'm wondering if it may have been just kinda a creative choice so that you can actually see some detailing in it a little bit more. Because if it was too dark, you run the risk of actually not being able to see anything. It would just look like a black block. So, a dark gray, dark black block as opposed to it with this, you do actually, especially you can kind of get a good idea of this with like the lights hitting it. Like it casts some nice shadows. You get a little bit of a reflection on it. So I'm kind of right now, without looking more into it and actually doing a one-to-one comparison between this and the movie, I'm thinking that it may have just been a creative choice to make it a little bit brighter and use lighter paints just so you can actually see some more of the detailing in it. But nonetheless, I really like how it's done. But again, this is relatively simple in design, and as is the base. I just think honestly, if you really want to get to the brass tacks of things like this, everything they did on the base is actually kinda, like, more impressive in a lot of ways. So they did a really good job, minus the crack and minus this. So, with that being said, let's actually get this thing now officially get him, in the 2 poses that he can do. We'll through the lighting effects and all that stuff and kinda like, give my final thoughts on everything and determine if it is worth the price. Really quick, guys, before we actually get him into the poses, as I was getting everything set up, I did discover a nice simple trick to get this out, just so you don't actually pull on these and break them. What you can easily do is pop out the opposite side. So these are nice and they're just magnetic, like I said. So these pop out very, very easily. And thankfully, this is hollow, so you can just stick your finger in here and push it out. Like so. Very, very simple. So, I noticed it when because I was super worried about, like, as this was going in, it's quite a snug fit, at least on this one, because I didn't have it in this one earlier, I had it in that one, so it was kind of a snug fit here, and I was like, "Oh, great," because as you can see, it recessed in there, like, pretty damn well, so I was really worried, like, "Oh, great, this is screwed, I'm not gonna be able to get this out now." But thankfully, this is hollow here, so you can just pop in there. It comes right out super easy, so definitely do that. And yeah, now we'll get into everything else. All right, guys. So there you have it. That was the kind of review and overview, detailed look at the process here. So I got them fully assembled and on the turntable here. So we're going to take a look at those 2 poses. And then I was going to have them on the turntable with the lights on, but like I got some footage of the lighting effects. It's really hard to see, especially like on the camera, it all lights off. It does look a little bit better in person, but instead of just explaining it, let me turn it on and I'll show you what I'm talking about and further explain it. So, first off, here, I think it's kind of I wouldn't even go as far as saying it's a Sophie's choice by any means, depending on like if you want it vertical or horizontal. I think it's going to depend on how your display is set up. I feel like if you use like a DTOF and you have them on anything but a lower shelf, you're probably wanting vertical. If you have them on a horizontal, like this one, then you're probably gonna want them on something higher because it's kinda hard to see. Like, if you had them horizontal, like, on, like, an eye level shelf, I don't know if you would really you wouldn't really get the full effect. If he's vertical, you get the full effect. As you can see here, the lighting is just so hard to see. Like, it is so hard to see. Like, it looks good. In person, it looks a lot better. Like, it's not as dim, but it barely picks up on the camera, and those side panel lights, they're not the side panel lights are not good. Like, they could have definitely used brighter LEDs in these things 'cause, they're not very bright for the base portion, but I love the piece as it is. Like, I think I'm gonna just have him like that, like in the vertical pose. I think it looks fantastic just sitting there. Like the horizontal pose is also really nice. If you have the proper display for it, and I mean honestly, like on any sort of middle shelf, it would work horizontal. Like it'd be cool if you have a Boba Fett, you have the Empire Boba Fett. I would honestly probably put them on a shelf to where you get a good view, like, kinda, an aerial view of it with Boba standing next to it, like, horizontal. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Cause then, like, your eye goes to both it and you got Boba standing over top of it, like, ominously. I think that'd be really cool. But in the end, I really like it. I think it's great. It's gonna just come down to it's really just personal preference, really. I mean, in the end, oh yeah, and as you can see on the back part of the post there, I had another quality control issue with that. Mine's like it's angled, it's crooked, super weird. Like so, my base is broken on that top portion, and then I mean, it's not a big deal, but that magnetized section for the vertical stance pole, it's like crooked. It doesn't affect anything. And I am happy to report at the very least that the magnet for that vertical section, it does hold it pretty good. Like it's not the strongest magnet in the world, but I went to try to pull it off when I was moving it around. And when I grabbed it from the bottom, because the magnet's obviously on the top, and it actually held it in place. Like I didn't yank it by any means, but like I pulled it and it held in place. So, but yeah, take a look real quick. This is the only other thing. Let me know if anybody has this, if you have these similar issues. But you can see with that pole, that little square section is slightly crooked. Like it wasn't welded or molded on like properly. It's so weird. So I don't know, guys. If you guys have this piece, let me know if you ran into having that piece cracked on the bottom part of the base. Is your battery portion on the bottom like that different of a color and kind of sloppily cut like mine was? That's really my only detractors from the thing. It's just the QC issues that mine seems to have. I didn't take any shots of it with the carbonite chamber base. Like you just take it off, flip it over, you get that darker panel. It's so bland. Like and like it has no detailing to it. It's just that one solid dark gray gunmetal color, so it really doesn't have any. I don't really like that one. I'm gonna keep it with the Bespin, that base. I think it adds a nice contrast to it. I haven't fully decided if I wanna keep the orange light cover thing on or off or not. I will say, as far as the lighting goes, I don't really care in the end that it's not super bright by any means. You can definitely see it in like normal lighting conditions. If you turn it on, you can see it. Especially the number portion, that's a lot better. It is harder to see with the orange, light shield thing on it. But I kind of consider this in the same vein, the lighting feature on this in the same vein as the LED lightsabers. In the end, it's kinda just cumbersome, and it's not very good of an effect. So, this one, I will say at the very least, on the very back panel of the base, I can't remember if I even showed this, but there I can't believe if I missed this in the review, I apologize, but on the very back panel, there's actually just a button you press to turn it on. I'm pretty sure I covered it. I don't know, I may not have, but on the very back, you can actually probably see it here. Right there on the bottom left corner, right there, like, right below the top panel, that's where the button is. So you press it, it blends in, you blends in so you can't see it, but you just press to turn it on. So it's not that cumbersome to turn on, unlike the LED lightsaber arms for Hot Toys where you gotta take the whole damn arm off or you gotta fricking pull the clothing. It's not worth it, especially when the effect this isn't very good. Now, if you could rig this up to have it constantly turned on, like, get wired up, then sure, just leave it on, who cares? But in the end, the numbers don't flash that fast either. It's just because I have it spinning and I sped it up. I honestly think I probably sped it up a little too much for the spinning portions. They go through there very quickly. I think I normally do it on a slower speed, but nevertheless, in the end, I really like the piece. I think it's great. QC issues aside, I think it looks like I love how it just like standing there, it looks great. I love how it looks. And again, I don't know for sure, but I think maybe they just went with the lighter color for the actual carbonite portion of like Han and Carbonite, just so it like you can actually see it more. Because I just feel like kind of like the base, if it was that one solid dark color, it would just look like a solid black or gray block just sitting there. That's my guess. So I do like that they in the end, I do like that they kinda went with a lighter look, if that's why. Because, like, I really do feel like you probably would have some problems with it being too dark. So, question is though, guys, what do you think about the piece? Do you like the piece? Have you been on the fence about getting it? I definitely think if you have an Empire collection, it's definitely a nice addition. My wife got this piece for me, and I've said this before, because she also got me the Bespin Leia, so bless her heart, very much appreciated. But pieces like that, like this Han Solo and Carbonite piece, like pieces like this, in my opinion, they are like my favorite figures or statues, whatever you want to call this. Those are my favorite ones to get because normally, like for me, my mind's always gonna want to purchase like the named figure first. You know what I mean? It's very much akin to like in my mind. This is how my mind operates anyway. Not that your mind should act like mine. Like you probably don't want to, but like, I would always if I had a choice between buying Han Solo, like Empire Strikes Back Han Solo, if they ever make it Hot Toys, I'd buy that before I bought Han and Carbonite. You know what I mean? Because like, they're around the same price, and this is just like a statue for the most part. You know what I mean? It's kinda and I it's just like a clone trooper or a stormtrooper, an unnamed one. You know what I mean? Like, I would buy Captain Rex before I bought unnamed clone trooper. But I want unnamed clone trooper. You know what I mean? Like, I want unnamed stormtrooper. Like, because they look great. They're great. They're awesome pieces. But in my mind, I always prioritize like people with names. You know, the main characters. Like, well, I'm not going to spend the money on a stormtrooper if I don't even have Tarkin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would buy Tarkin before I would buy unnamed stormtrooper number 4. You know, so, like, these pieces like this are the best ones, like, in my opinion, to get as gifts. So that's my roundabout way of saying, like, if you've been on the fence about spending the money on this, but you want it and you like the review and you think it's worth having, ask for it for a gift. You know, if your wife is looking for something, you know, Father's Day is coming up. My wife got this one for me for both my birthday and Father's Day. They fall around the same time. So I got this and another one that I'm going to be revealing on stream here this upcoming Friday. So you wanna see what other piece you got me there, then come back on the stream Friday around, 8:30, PM Eastern Time. But until then, let me know what you think about this piece down in the comment section below. Do you think it's worth it? Have you been on the fence about it? Let me know down there, and do not forget that every Monday, our show, Honest and Uneducated, goes live, and you can submit topics and questions, sorry, to the show by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com, and you can follow me on social media just at Sir Rob Bifo. Be sure to like and subscribe to the video if you like the content every Wednesday, like today. All of the statue reviews, collectible reviews, hot toys, they all go up on every Wednesday. Then, like I said, every Friday we do our live stream. Again, it's around 8:30, PM Eastern. So come hang out with us there. I do all the figure unboxings. If I get some new stuff in that week, I'll do like an unboxing and preview of it. And then normally like one of those I just got, if I'm like ahead of schedule, that'll be the next one I do a review on. But I still have quite a few that I haven't got to. I mean, I've nowhere near made a dent into my overall collection in general. Like, for God's sake, I actually, all this stuff behind me, I haven't reviewed any of it. It's all here though. And that's pretty much how it is in the house too. So that's why I like doing it week to week. It lets me take my time and get into it. So let me know again what you thought about the piece down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, subscribe, follow me on social media there. It's at Sir Rob Bifo. Come hang out with us every Friday. But guys, until next time, thanks for watching and take care.